All right, then, welcome back. This is Business Center, and of course, we are talking about agriculture. And today we are talking about donkey farming. And I had asked you earlier a question of the day where we had asked you to contribute to the question where we had asked, how long do you think a donkey lasts in a farm? What is the lifespan of a donkey in a farm? Continue to contribute to this question. We'll read your comments as we continue with the show. But of course, I had told you, I had promised you, and we have him here, Elijah Methigi. Welcome so much to the show.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right.
Yes.
So let us just begin by you explaining to us what Brooke East Africa does.
Thank you, and thank you for your invitation. Brooke East Africa is a an animal welfare charity, and our focus is, as the name goes, animal welfare, but particularly on a group of animals I would call equines. Is a family of donkeys, horses, and mules. Especially those which are used mainly for work, you know. So we really focus on educating farmers or the keepers of these animals on their welfare. And also we work with governments and other stakeholders just to uplift the welfare of these animals, because they are very much neglected in our society, and given very low profile, despite them playing a very significant role in our society. So that's what Brooke East Africa is about, and we work mainly in Kenya, but we also have programs in Tanzania, in South Sudan, in Somaliland, in Uganda.
All right.
Yes.
We are going to move, but I'll keep remembering that you have other branches in the countries that you've said.
Yes.
So, but first, let us just look at the donkey now, because you've spoken about the welfare.
Yes.
They've been really neglected in the country, and what can you say is their contribution in the agricultural sector in the country?
Donkeys, especially, let's look at Kenya, because we are here. Donkeys are a very significant asset, I would call, in agriculture value chains, and many of them. I will give you a very simple example that if you go to Moya, there is no rice that goes to the rice mills without involvement of the donkey. If you go to Mount Elgon, all the onions and potatoes that come from Mount Elgon go to the market down there in Kakamega by virtue of the donkey.
Yeah. If
you go right here in Nyandarua, donkeys play a very serious role in transportation of milk to the dairies. So you can see, Sokomjinga, every cabbage, every carrot you see there has probably gone through the heads of, or the backs, so to speak, of the donkey from the farms. So looking at that, I would say they are a very critical cog in our agriculture sector. Yes.
And you've spoken about rice farming in Mwea, and you've spoken about the potatoes, them transporting all these kinds of agricultural products. But let me read for you something. The Calro report in 2019 noted that 4 Kenyan-based donkey abattoirs slaughtered 301,977 donkeys in 3 years, 2016 to 2018. That was the Calro report. Now, how do you think this has affected? Because they keep on slaughtering the animals. We've not gotten maybe a report since 2018 up to now. Maybe the number has increased, or maybe it's still somewhere closer there.
Yes.
What is your reaction to this?
Now, we got ourselves into a trouble in 2016 when Kenya licensed those slaughterhouses without proper due diligence, I would call, by the government to look at a number of things. First of all is the reproduction of donkeys, the number, the population itself, and the demand that they were opening our donkeys into, because this slaughter is mainly driven by the need for skin exportation to China.
All right.
It's not even for meat consumption, as many people think, and that demand is huge. China has been in this business They had a population of over 9 or so million donkeys by the time they were starting. They brought that down to about 3 or so million donkeys. That's the time they started looking to, to Africa and other sources because it's not sustainable. And Kenya welcomed them. So then what happened is they would slaughter over 1,000 donkeys per day. These slaughterhouses, 1,000 donkeys since 2016. And we really engaged the government as Brooke East Africa plus our partners and other animal welfare organizations. Really pushed and said, look, this business is not sustainable. The communities also had a huge outcry because of theft that accompanied this trade. Because most of the owners really didn't want to sell their donkeys. Because most of the owners who own these donkeys keep these donkeys not for, for sale, it's for work. It is a domestic animal for fetching water for women. And so a lot of theft was going on between the same period. But then luckily in 2020, out of our campaign and engagements, we had the government issue a ban, which again, unfortunately, last year or this year in May, because the slaughterhouses went to court, to say this was unfair for their trade, the court lifted the ban. But we are happy that the government has still stuck to the not issuing the licenses. So what happened, Kevin, is between 2016 and 2019, there was a huge offtake of donkeys to exactly what Carol report is talking about, and much more, because those were the ones that were reported. I will tell you, in 2009, census, Kenya census showed donkey population to be at 1.8. 2019 census, the most recent census, showed the donkey population to be 1.1 from 1.8. Now that gives you, and in 2016, the livestock ministry had done a small census and had indicated the donkey population was about 1.9. You see, it was going up, naturally, because donkeys are naturally hard breeders, what we call hard breeders. So this offtake really can be attributed almost directly to the slaughter that was happening. We hope that the ban will stay. We are really conversing with the government on that, because we can't have a situation where donkeys go to extinction in our context, because at that rate, that is where we were going. Carol indicated the report you're talking about, that at that rate, by 2023, we would be talking of donkeys that were. So I think the onus is on the government and all of us to say our donkeys are not for skin, surely. They are for our, our livelihoods. They are for our agriculture, as you're talking about. They are for our women to fetch water. The government will say, oh, we will supply water. But until then, the women in Kitui, in Narok, they can't survive without donkeys, at least for getting waters for their households. So that is the situation we are in, but we are very positive.
All right, let me just jump in. For example, you find now the donkeys are being slaughtered for their skin, and then now the meat that is remaining, does it go to, because of course there are always rumors that donkey meat is being sold. What do you think about this?
Those rumors could be varied, because there is very little accountability of where the meat goes. One, because yes, I know the donkey was gazetted as a meat animal, and this is one of the legislation that really put us in this problem, which we are really discussing should be reviewed. But despite that, the donkey meat was not given a meat code, what we call meat code, for it to be inspected. So it doesn't. That's why you don't find donkey meat displayed on your local butchery. You get, like the way you'll say that is a cow, that is a goat, and that's a chicken that I'm eating, or that's a pork I'm eating. So with that, there is this huge lacuna, this huge gap, which really we can't tell where that meat ends. But we did a small investigation, and I tell you, in Burma, a lot of donkeys are being eaten there without people knowing. Yeah, because we can't say that all the donkeys that were slaughtered for that skin, the entire meat left to China. Because of course they also export a bit of that meat. But we can't guarantee Kenyans that they are not having donkeys for their delicacy. There are communities that eat donkeys culturally, you know. Turkana, for example, donkey is a delicacy there, but they slaughter it for occasions, you get, in their own local ways. The government has had no problem with that. The West Pokot the same. But for the majority of us, surely, we know that is not you want to have in your samosa.
Exactly.
Yes.
And now you as Brooke East Africa, going forward, and now we can see the government trying to bring the economy back, trying to say, oh, all right, this is what we've been doing. There's been quarantine the whole time, so we're trying to come back. So you as Brooke East Africa, going forward, what are you doing in order to make sure that this situation does not become even worse? Because as we've seen the trend going, the numbers are keeping on increasing of the slaughtering of donkeys. What are you doing as Brooke East Africa?
Primarily, we are working very closely with the communities. As Brooke East Africa, we work through organizations that are in the communities. And so the first person to safeguard their donkey is the owner. Because as I told you, most of these owners don't want to sell. So one of the things really we have been working very closely with the donkey owners is their protection, you know, because owners were used to just letting donkeys, you know, graze on their own, and in the process, they are stolen. So that is one of the areas we have said, guys, these are your animals, let them be given good house, shelter them, you know, like you do other animals, other livestock, you know, for safety. But again, in addition to that, as I have said, we are working closely with the government. Really, the CS, our Cabinet Secretary, Peter Munya, has been really a good ally of ours on this journey of saying, let's reverse any policy that is, you know, endangering donkeys, which can be used as a gap by people who don't have goodwill, like the traders in skin, you get. So we are working on policy changes. Really policy changes that will make sure we safeguard the donkeys and these species, which are vulnerable species, not just donkeys, but also the community has been out there telling the government, please don't open those slaughterhouses. And we are behind them, really. We will support them, and we will keep raising the voice and awareness also to the public, like media, even you guys being a very key ally, even us being here having this conversation is a good step. Yes. Yeah.
And now donkeys, of course, what has been the reaction of people? How do people perceive donkey? Do you think the perceiving of donkeys has changed over the years, because they used to carry loads, they used to work in the farm? How has been the reaction coming up to this year?
The perception is changing, but slowly. You know, changing human behavior is not a cup of tea. It's not you wake up in the morning, because the perception has been really very much negative. You know, of course, even the word burden, beast of burden, and of course donkeys are not beast of burden. They are beast, we call them beast of hope. So we have been educating farmers and owners, but also the general public. And I can tell you, if you go to areas where we have worked closely, we may not have been in every section of this country, but at the moment we are in 22 counties with our programs. And we have seen a lot of change in attitude and behavior. And the owners are now, as I have told you, they are sheltering donkeys now, which is a good move. They are feeding their donkeys. We have had women groups and even youth groups coming together, even to buy better feed. The way you buy feed for cows, they are now doing that for donkeys. We still have a long way to go, especially on some bad husbandry practices like whipping, especially with the youth in urban areas. We still have a way to go, but we are continuing to engage. In fact, some of this work we are doing with other collaborators. Like I can tell you, the urban youths who work with donkeys in urban areas, most of them are under influence of drugs.
Yeah.
So what we have done is we are collaborating with Nakada,
Wow.
you know, to target these youths, not just to talk to them, don't whip, but to get them out of this behavior of drugs for the sake of their own lives, but also for the sake of the welfare of the donkey. So those are efforts, I believe, gradually will continue to give us good results. Yes.
Yeah, because I was about to ask you the mistreatment of donkeys, because we've seen there's clear mistreatment.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's good you've said about what you're doing with the youths in the urban areas. And now let's move to now Brooke in other different countries.
Yes.
What do you usually, what is the reception outside Kenya of Brooke?
Tanzania, we have been there for like 3-4 years now. It's a newer program than Kenya. And I can tell you, they are more receptive than sometimes our people here. So we are making very good inroads. We are working in Dodoma region and in Arusha region with organizations there. And there is also an issue of slaughter. They also have a slaughterhouse, which we have worked with the government, very receptive. And last month, they closed the slaughterhouse there as well, so that there is a collaboration. Because if the slaughter is happening in Tanzania, you will find some of our donkeys going there.
Exactly.
That has been happening. In South Sudan, again, we are working in the what we call the northern Bargaza region, where we have a lot of donkeys and horses. Also, we have horses there working, like donkeys work here. And we are working with organizations like veterinary doctors there, Veterinaries Without Borders. And what we have seen is very good reception, both of the community and the governments. And so we have all intentions to continue expanding our programs. The same with Somaliland. We are in Hargeisa. And there also, donkeys are used very much by the youths. We have seen very good reception, I would say, even in change of policies. Like in Somaliland, we are developing a animal welfare policy with the government at the moment, which will take care of, you know, donkeys as well, as much as all animals. So we are making good inroads, and we will continue expanding our reach.
All right.
Yes.
And now, for example, what would you advise the communities that own, because we have communities that, you know, if you talk about donkeys, you talk about a certain community.
Yes.
What would you advise them to do in order to keep them safe and rear them in the right way?
You know, if you just give the donkey the same attention we give our cows, we will be somewhere. And it's not difficult. And we have been encouraging these owners. You know, sometimes they have myths, like if a donkey gets sick, it will die. And some of them believed the donkey doesn't even have a vet or a doctor for donkeys. We have now introduced them to the same doctors or the same vets who they call to treat their cows. And they are amazed when they see the same vet, because we have trained vets as well.
Yes.
Because some of them didn't even know how to handle a donkey, leave alone inject. So we are working with the universities, the veterinary schools as well. But when the owners see donkeys being treated and getting healed, they get amazed. So we are encouraging them to, you know, bring the donkey into the homestead. Make it as part and parcel of your household, the way the cow is, the way your goat is. Rear them together. They have no problem even staying together. Feed them together, give them the same shelter, treat them when you invite a doctor, give them dewormers the way you give your cows. And that message really is going into their, you know, their behaviors very well. So that we again don't isolate the donkey by making it look like it is this alien animal. It should be part and parcel of the household. Yes. And
now finally, moving forward as a country, what would you say we need to do in order to make sure that donkeys are not viewed as these other animals that you've said, the way you've said, as aliens who their only work is to come into the farm and work and not be taken care of as a cow or a chicken and any other animal farm, the animals that are kept on the farm.
Yes.
As a country, what is the way forward on donkey farming?
Donkey farming is, I think, what we are saying as a country needs to be embraced. One, because of the contribution the donkeys are making to our economy. So if we look at them as economic assets as a country and we embrace the donkey, I believe even in the programs, the livestock programs, we are urging the national government, county governments, because animal welfare is a devolved function, by the way. So when the counties are developing the what we call, like county operation or CIDPs, they call them CIDPs, they have programs for vaccination, but they leave out donkeys. Please include the donkeys in these programs, government livestock programs. So that is a conversation we are having. That is the way to go as a country. And when we do that, the farmers will follow suit. Because if the government comes and tells you, you need to take better care of your donkey, the way they tell you about your other livestock, your camel, they will listen. Having the donkey as part of the agriculture extension, it makes it, even the community, the society will embrace it. But if we keep leaving it out, people, of course, will continue with the same perceptions. But I'm glad, because even having this conversation with the media is a very, very good step. And so I think we are on the right track. But we'll continue encouraging that culture change. We are even having programs with the schools, by the way. We reach out to school children. We have some what we call donkey care clubs in a number of schools to change the culture from the upbringing. Once we have that culture change, then things will become, like all these animals are really part of us, including the donkey.
All right.
Yes.
All right, we have to wrap up. This conversation was really very informative. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Kevin.
All
right. Looking forward to any other time.
All right.
I appreciate it.
All right, then, that has been Elijah, and he has really extensively explained to us what donkey farming means to a farmer and also to the country, and you as a farmer taking care of the donkey as any other animal on the farm will bring an importance into the country at large in the agriculture sector. We're going to go for a short break and we'll be back with innovations and agri-facts. Continue sending us your comments on our question of the day. I'll be back after the break.